There is a moment when the universe holds its breath and waits for you. Not to act, not to wish, but to align. It happens in the space between thoughts, in the heartbeat that pauses before your next decision. Most people miss it. They are too busy trying to bend reality, shouting their desires into a field that only listens to silence. The truth is uncomfortable. The universe doesn't respond to what you want, it responds to what you are. You can chant affirmations, visualize endlessly, repeat the same intentions every dawn. But if your heart and your breath are out of sync, the message never leaves the room. It's like screaming underwater, movement without resonance. The surface ripples, but nothing crosses the depth. Every thought becomes noise when your internal rhythm is in conflict. Every wish collides with the chaos you carry inside. And yet, when coherence happens, even for a fraction of a second, something beyond logic stirs. It's as if the air thickens, time expands, and life tilts in your direction. The impossible begins to rearrange itself with quiet precision. No flashes, no miracles, no drama. Just alignment. Subtle. Immediate. Absolute. Imagine standing in front of an immense mirror that reflects not your body, but your state. When your breath trembles, the image distorts. When your mind races, the reflection fractures. But when your rhythm softens, when every inhale and exhale move like tides under moonlight, the mirror clears. And the field, that vast intelligence holding every possibility, finally recognizes you. This is where everything begins, not in effort, but in frequency. The same breath that sustains you also writes your reality. Each inhale is a message. Each exhale, a command. And when both move in harmony, the distance between you and what you seek disappears. The response is instant because there was never separation to begin with. Only static, only noise. So the real secret was never about asking harder or believing louder. It was about learning to listen to the space between beats. That quiet pulse where creation begins. Because the universe is not moved by force, but by resonance. And when you enter coherence, you don't chase the miracle. You become it. Coherence doesn't arrive like a lightning strike. It seeps in quietly, the way dawn invades a dark room before you're fully awake. You don't force it. You remember it. And yet, that remembering often begins with discomfort, with the awareness that something inside you has been out of tune for a very long time. You feel it in the restlessness that no achievement seems to calm, in the exhaustion that sleep never fixes, in the silence that feels heavy instead of peaceful. It's the body whispering that the mind has been leading too long. We've been trained to chase outcomes, to grind our way toward miracles, to measure life by effort. But coherence lives in another language, one the mind doesn't speak fluently. It's not about intensity, it's about rhythm. You can't reach it through more struggle, only through precision. Like a musician who realizes that playing louder doesn't make the song truer, you begin to understand that alignment is not power, it's honesty. Think about it. How many times have you felt something was off before things went wrong? The moment before an argument that could have been avoided, the hesitation before a decision that later cost too much. Those weren't coincidences, they were signals. Tiny fractures in coherence. The body knew what the mind refused to hear. And when those signals pile up, life itself starts reflecting the noise back to you. In people, in delays, in sudden turns that feel unfair but are only echoes of what you've been transmitting all along. To enter coherence, you must first feel your own distortion. Notice the breath that cuts short when you rush. The jaw that tightens when you pretend to be calm. The heart that beats too fast not because of danger, but because of memory. Every one of these is a doorway, small, simple, but sacred. And once you step through, the field begins to change. Not because you asked it to, but because it always mirrors your state. That's why so many who reach this understanding choose to stay, to keep listening, breathing, returning, because something real happens here. It's not a promise of perfection, but a remembering of alignment. You start to realize that the universe was never random. It was responsive. And in this recognition, curiosity replaces control. You begin to wonder not if life will respond, but how. And just as you start to feel that stillness take shape, a new question emerges, one that will change the way you see every breath from now on. There comes a point when awareness alone is no longer enough. You start to feel the distance between the life you live and the one that hums beneath the surface. It's a strange dissonance, like listening to a song that's almost in tune, almost beautiful, but just slightly off. You can't explain what's missing, yet the lack of harmony fills every corner of your day. You move through familiar routines, say the same words, breathe the same air, and still something inside you refuses to settle. That tension isn't failure. It's a signal, the pull of coherence trying to call you home. But the mind resists. It insists on solving what only stillness can reveal. It tightens its grip, replaying memories, demanding proofs, calculating outcomes. It doesn't understand that control is the very thing that blocks the current. So you keep pushing, hoping that effort can buy clarity, and with every attempt, the gap widens. You start to feel it physically, the shallow breath, the heavy chest, the pulse that skips and stumbles as if it too is searching for rhythm. The body becomes a mirror, reflecting every argument between your thoughts and your truth. And yet, deep inside that chaos, something tender begins to stir. A quiet knowing that whispers beneath the noise. It's not dramatic. It's not loud. It feels more like remembering a dream, faint at first, but familiar. The realization that what you've been chasing isn't outside you at all. That coherence isn't a destination, it's the return to what never left. Still, the journey back isn't peaceful. The moment you try to align, every distortion rises to the surface. Old emotions, unspoken fears, unhealed echoes, they all demand to be seen. Coherence is merciless that way. It reveals everything that isn't truth. And for a while, it can feel like your world is unraveling, like the very thing you're trying to reach is tearing you apart. But maybe that's the point. Maybe the unraveling is the real alignment. Because only when the layers of noise collapse can the pure frequency emerge. Only when you stop protecting your illusions can the field finally recognize you. And as this awareness deepens, as the old begins to fall away, there's a moment, fragile, luminous, when you sense that something vast is listening. You can almost feel the shift, the heartbeat of the universe leaning closer, waiting. The air grows heavier, charged, alive with possibility. And in that suspended breath between what was and what's coming next, you realize that something irreversible has already begun. And then, just when you think you're breaking apart, something unexpected happens. The quiet starts to make sense. What once felt like emptiness begins to feel like space. You start to notice details that were always there but drowned in the noise. The weight of air on your skin, the rhythm of your own heartbeat, the subtle warmth between one breath and the next. It's not enlightenment. It's presence. The kind that doesn't announce itself, but simply is. The old tension softens, not because it disappears, but because you stop fighting it. You realize that coherence isn't about perfect calm, it's about honest rhythm. The waves still move, but they move in harmony. The emotions still come, but they no longer own you. It's like learning to dance with the storm instead of running from it. For a moment, everything inside you aligns. Body, breath, pulse, and the world around you seems to exhale in response. You begin to sense that life has been trying to talk to you all along, just in a language quieter than your thoughts. A delay that once felt like punishment now feels like protection. A person who left was never a loss, but a clearing of space. Even the ache in your chest takes on a strange kind of beauty, a reminder that you are still capable of depth, of feeling, of being moved. It's here, in this fragile clarity, that many people feel something shift, a subtle pull to acknowledge what's real, maybe even to leave a small trace of that recognition behind. A quiet gesture, a word, or perhaps simply a sign that says, "I felt this too." It's less about approval, more about resonance, the silent way one heartbeat recognizes another. The air feels different now, lighter, yet charged with something almost sacred. You can sense that this is only the surface, that the coherence you've touched is just the threshold of a deeper intelligence waiting beneath. It hums at the edges of your awareness, patient, ancient, endlessly kind. And as you breathe again, slower this time, with more presence than before, a realization flickers at the edge of your mind. What if the universe has been responding all along, not with grand gestures, but with the smallest echoes of your own state? What if every answer you've been searching for has been hiding inside the silence that now surrounds you? The moment you begin to feel coherence, it's as if the entire world takes a quiet step closer. Conversations shift. The same streets seem softer, more alive. Even the light falls differently, not brighter, just more intentional, as if it knows exactly where to land. Yet with this new sensitivity comes a strange unease. When you start to hear the deeper rhythm, you also notice the dissonance, in others, in the noise of the world, sometimes even in yourself. It's beautiful and uncomfortable all at once. You realize how much of life is built on static. People talking over each other. Thoughts running faster than breath. The endless race to appear in control while everything inside trembles. You see it now, the masks, the rehearsed calm, the constant resistance against what simply is. It's not judgment, it's recognition. You've worn those masks too. You've spoken those rushed words. You've tried to sound certain while your heart whispered doubt. And in that recognition, something cracks. Not painfully, gently, like ice breaking under the first touch of spring. You start to see that coherence isn't about holding everything together. It's about allowing what no longer fits to fall away. Sometimes it's a plan that dissolves. Sometimes a relationship that drifts. Sometimes it's a version of yourself you can no longer carry. Each loss feels like air leaving your lungs, but it's only making room for a fuller breath. There's fear in that emptiness, of course. The mind doesn't know how to live without its noise. But within that silence, there's also a quiet pulse of hope. The kind that doesn't shout or promise. It hums beneath the skin like memory, like something you've always known but forgot how to trust. You begin to sense how life mirrors you, how even chaos holds a strange intelligence. The delays, the detours, the endings, they're not random. They're responses. Reflections of a field that listens not to words, but to frequencies. And when your frequency shifts, so does everything around you. It's in that realization that a subtle tension builds, a sense that coherence isn't just an inner state, but an invitation. Something vast, invisible, and aware is waiting just beyond perception, listening for the moment you finally speak its language again. And as you stand at the edge of that awareness, the air thickens, not with fear, but with the unmistakable feeling that what comes next will change everything. It's strange how the light seems different once you've seen the pattern beneath the chaos. The same sunrise feels slower, heavier, almost aware of itself. You start noticing how everything breathes, not just you, but the world. Trees inhale with the wind. Oceans exhale against the shore. Even silence has a rhythm, pulsing like a distant drum beneath the noise of daily life. And you realize coherence isn't just a personal state. It's the hidden thread that binds everything together. Yet the moment you touch that truth, fear stirs. Because coherence demands honesty, and honesty strips away every illusion you've built to feel safe. It shows where you still cling, where you still pretend, where you still whisper, "I'm fine," when the body knows you're not. It's a mirror that reflects not only your calm, but also your chaos. And in that reflection, there's no place to hide. Sometimes the awareness feels too bright, almost blinding. You try to turn away, to distract yourself with noise, tasks, plans, anything that keeps you from facing what the stillness reveals. But even then, the silence follows. It's not punishing, it's patient. It waits for the moment you stop running, for the instant when the mask slips and your breath finally matches the truth. There's a quiet kind of breaking that happens then, not destruction, but release. The false certainty begins to dissolve. The tightness in your chest loosens. The world doesn't change, yet everything feels rearranged, as if someone subtly adjusted the lens through which you see. You begin to understand that coherence is not about escaping the shadow, but allowing light to move through it. The darkness was never an enemy, it was a doorway. And through that doorway, you feel the faint hum of something immense, not outside, but within. The same intelligence that holds galaxies together now moves through your bloodstream, your heartbeat, your breath. It's impossible to explain, and maybe it's not meant to be. It's meant to be felt. In that suspended space between the known and the infinite, you find yourself standing still, not lost, not found, just aware. Every sound seems sharper, every pause more alive. The air thickens with quiet possibility, and you can sense that what waits on the other side of the silence isn't an answer, but a transformation quietly preparing to reveal itself. When you begin to live from coherence, subtle things start to shift before your eyes. It doesn't happen with lightning or thunder, but with the quiet rearranging of patterns that used to feel immovable. The person who once drained your energy now feels distant, as if the frequency no longer matches. Unexpected opportunities appear where there used to be walls. Even the way people look at you changes, not because you've become someone else, but because you've stopped fighting the current. The world starts to respond in whispers instead of obstacles. You begin to notice cause and effect on a different scale. When your breath steadies, conversations flow differently. When your heartbeat slows, chaos around you seems to organize itself. It's as if the universe mirrors your internal rhythm, not to reward you, but to match you. The same situation that once provoked anxiety now feels like a test of presence, not survival. The same delay that once felt like punishment becomes alignment. Coherence teaches you that reaction wastes power, response creates it. There are days when this feels effortless, like you're moving with invisible precision through a world that finally makes sense. And there are other days when you slip, when the old noise returns, and the body forgets the rhythm. But even those moments begin to look different. Instead of failure, they become data, feedback, proof that coherence isn't a destination, but a dialogue between you and something larger. You stop asking why things happen and start asking what they're showing you. And as you integrate this awareness, you realize that your presence itself is contagious. People near you begin to breathe differently without knowing why. Rooms feel calmer when you enter. Words carry more weight, not because you speak louder, but because they're anchored. What used to be effort has turned into influence, not forced but magnetic. This is the moment where many find themselves pausing, caught between wonder and curiosity. They begin to reflect, to trace back the invisible moments that built this new rhythm. Some even feel the impulse to express what shifted inside, a word, a thought, a realization. And in doing so, they add another pulse to this growing coherence that connects us all. The air feels charged again, but not with tension, with anticipation. Because deep down, there's a sense that all of this was just preparation. That coherence is not the end of the journey, but the doorway to a different kind of creation. One that doesn't just respond to the universe, it begins to shape it. The closer you move to coherence, the more the universe begins to test the strength of your alignment. It's not cruelty, it's precision. The field responds, not only to your calm, but to the moments when that calm is threatened. You start noticing how easily the noise tries to return. A sudden argument, a forgotten bill, an unexpected delay. They come like small waves against the surface of a lake, each one asking the same silent question. Will you remain the mirror, or will you become the storm again? There's beauty in these challenges, though you rarely see it at first. The discomfort reveals where your rhythm still fractures, where your breath shortens, where control begins to creep back in. It's subtle, like the tightening of a single thread in a vast web. But coherence is sensitive to the smallest shift. It demands honesty with every inhale, humility with every exhale. And slowly, you begin to see that what you once called obstacles are simply opportunities for refinement, for deeper resonance. The contrast becomes clearer now. Hope doesn't mean light without shadow. It means light that understands shadow. Progress doesn't erase challenge. It transforms how you meet it. Coherence isn't about floating above the world. It's about moving through it without losing your center. Like walking through rain without letting it soak the fire you carry inside. Some days, it feels like walking a tightrope stretched between two worlds. One foot in the old patterns of reaction, the other in this new awareness that demands presence. You sway, you doubt. But even as you tremble, something beneath you remains steady. That something is the rhythm, your own inner gravity, the pulse that keeps you from falling. And when you pause long enough, you start to sense the quiet intelligence behind every twist of the path. Every delay that seemed cruel, every silence that once felt empty, was never absence. It was alignment unfolding at a pace your mind couldn't see. The universe doesn't rush. It listens. It adjusts. It mirrors. And in that mirroring, it teaches. The air around you feels different now, denser, but alive. You begin to understand that coherence doesn't promise a life without storms. It promises the ability to stay still within them. That's the quiet power being built in you, invisible yet unshakable. And somewhere beyond this moment, just out of reach, something is beginning to respond in kind, as if the universe itself is holding its breath, waiting for your next one. There comes a point when coherence stops feeling like a practice and starts feeling like a remembering. The air becomes thicker with presence. The edges between you and the world begin to blur. You catch yourself noticing things that once passed unnoticed. the way light bends through steam rising from a cup, how a stranger's laughter alters the texture of a room, how a pause in conversation holds as much meaning as the words that came before it. The universe is no longer something distant. It's intimate, breathing through every ordinary detail. But intimacy has a cost. The more you sense connection, the more you feel the weight of dissonance. When you slip from that rhythm, when anger flares, when impatience bites, the discord feels sharper, almost painful. It's not punishment, it's awareness. You begin to realize that coherence magnifies everything, the beauty and the fracture alike. Light shines brighter, but shadows become clearer too. The field doesn't judge what it reflects, it simply amplifies. In those moments of contrast, doubt whispers again. What if coherence is fragile? What if it vanishes the moment I look away? Yet something deeper answers, not in words, but in pulse. You start to understand that coherence doesn't disappear when you falter. It waits beneath the noise, like a still current under rough water. The storms of thought and emotion pass, and the quiet rhythm is still there, patient as gravity. That realization changes how you meet challenge. Fear no longer signals failure, but an invitation to return. Pain becomes a teacher, not a sentence. Even confusion takes on a new shape, not an enemy to be solved, but a cloud passing through the atmosphere of a larger clarity. You begin to see that the universe doesn't respond instantly because you're perfect, but because you're aligned enough to notice the conversation that was happening all along. The more you live this way, the more reality seems to soften around you. Timing feels less like coincidence and more like choreography. The things you used to chase start arriving quietly, almost shyly, as if drawn to the steadiness you've become. And yet, even now, there's a question hanging in the air, a whisper that both humbles and ignites you. If coherence can shift the world around me this way, what might happen if I sustained it long enough to shift the world within me? The answer doesn't come. Only silence. But it's a living silence, full, resonant, aware. The kind that feels like the pause between heartbeats, when everything holds still just before something extraordinary begins to move. And then, something subtle happens. Not a flash, not an explosion, but a quiet knowing that fills the space inside your chest. It's the moment you realize coherence was never something to reach for, because it was never outside you. It was waiting beneath every breath, behind every thought, inside every silence you once feared. What changes now is not the world, but the way you exist within it. You start to see that every movement, every choice, every pause carries weight, not because the universe suddenly listens, but because you finally speak its language. You feel it in the smallest things. The way light touches a wall. The way someone's eyes soften when you meet them with calm instead of defense. The way time seems to stretch when you breathe with awareness, as if each second wanted to be lived instead of endured. You no longer chase signs. You live among them. You no longer search for miracles. You realize you've become one. There's a clarity now, but it's not the kind that shouts answers. It's quieter, rounder, more complete. It teaches through stillness, the same stillness that once frightened you. You understand that coherence doesn't demand perfection. It only asks for presence. And presence, when sustained, is the most radical form of creation. It rearranges the invisible architecture of your life without you needing to force anything at all. This is the turning point most people miss, where knowing becomes being. You don't talk about alignment anymore. You embody it. The line between thought and manifestation blurs because they've become the same gesture. The breath you take, the word you choose, the emotion you allow, all of it writes the frequency you send into the field. And the field, in perfect silence, writes back. If you felt even a flicker of recognition here, that strange warmth that rises when truth lands somewhere deep, hold it. That feeling is coherence. It's the dialogue between your cells and the cosmos. It's the signal that tells life, I'm here. I remember. And if that signal stirred something in you, then let it expand. Share it. Speak it. Leave a trace of it. Not as an act of noise, but as an offering, a pulse that tells others it's possible. Because the truth is simple, and it always was, when you enter coherence, the universe doesn't wait. It answers in real time. Not with thunder, but with resonance. And in that resonance, you remember what you truly are. Not a fragment lost in the noise, but the quiet rhythm through which everything responds.